Welcome to our daily intro to concepts of Kabbalah and to Kabbalah. I was very happy to see today that we have that amazing background of Maran HaBet Yosef Shul, where he used to teach his people. His shul was also a yeshiva. So, I don't know, a little inspired. Let's talk a little bit about the concept of nefesh, ruach, and neshama, the three parts of the soul, and we'll see where it takes us. We need to remember and to understand that the whole entire world is basically a mirror image of what we call partzuf adam, the facial aspect of men, and we'll explain those things further down the road. And we need to know that everything that man has in terms of qualities, parts, and so on and so forth exists in the world. And whatever is in the world exists in men. That's why a person, a human, is called olam katan, a miniature world. That's what we say, that every person that saves a person is like ilu itzil olam shalem, like he saved a whole world and so on. And as much as the man, human, is called olam katan, a small world, a miniature world, so is the whole entire world is called Adam, human. And then we have Adam de Bria, Adam de Yetzira, Adam de Asiya. In other words, the man of Bria, the man of Yetzira, the man of Asiya, and so on and so forth. And as much as the overall general reality is being divided into four worlds, there are four worlds, right? But it's really divided into three worlds because the upper one is beyond the reach. So we have the three worlds, which is Bria, Yetzira, Asiya, creation, formation, and action. So is in every world in particular, we could also distinguish three different levels of what we say Bria, Yetzira, Asiya. Not only that each person himself, we also able to distinguish with those three different levels within the person itself as Bria, Yetzira, Asiya. Creation, formation, and action, and which correspond to a certain extent with the three different parts of the soul without the two extra parts, which is nefesh, ruach, and neshama. And now we could create a certain algorithm with different combination. We take the nefesh of bria, we're going to put in the ruach of asiya, and so on and so forth. And based on this algorithm of three different levels and three different worlds, or three different parts of the soul with three different worlds, you could create a whole structure or a skeleton of a structure of understanding how things cascade and the interpersonal relationship between this force or that force, and so on and so forth, the relations between them and the ratio between them. So as we're going to hopefully see further down in the future, God willing, is that the three, again, I keep saying four, but it's actually four, but divided into three, that we have, which is Bria, Yetzira, Asiya, are the vessels for the nefesh. They are the vessels in which hold or allow the nefesh to develop. And these are the vessels in which allow the ruach to contain it and to develop, and the same thing to the neshama itself. So, and Olama Yetzira, for example, if we're talking about Olama Bria, which is the higher one that we can reach, is the vessels for the neshama. Okay, and Olama Yetzira, right? It's the kli for the ruach. And again, people who are creators, artists, and so on and so forth are called anshe ruach, because the Yetzira, to create, or to, when we talk about yotzer, is mean a creator in terms of artist, poet, and so on and so forth, that you need extra ruach. So you see how much those concepts really penetrated even into modern Hebrew. What we call liberal arts is really, in Hebrew, it's called Madai Ruach. These are all the things that involve those kind of aspects. So it's interesting to know that comes from Olam HaYetzirah. And Olam HaYetzirah is the kli for the Ruach, and Olam HaAsiyah, action, is the kli for the Nefesh. So therefore, as a result of that, those three different attributes, which are Bria, Yetzirah, Ve'asiyah, and the three steps or different levels of the soul, Ruach, Neshama, Nefesh, Ruach, and Neshama, are in each person. Each and every one of us has them all, and the whole entire world also have, as we said, the Ruach, the Nefesh, and the Neshama, and those three worlds, and together that creates a whole, as we said, the infrastructure or the skeleton of how the world works. So if you are an engineer and you look at the plan, you could be able to understand the how it's being built and what will be, if there's going to be pressure on this one and overweight on the other one, and so on and so forth. So when we are talking about three different types of nefesh, of the soul, which is the nefesh, ruach, and neshama, right? And this is also nefesh veruach that comes into each one individually, and the nefesh, the ruach, and neshama that includes in the whole entire world. So now depends how it's interacted, and then we have the nefesh, the ruach, and neshama that exists or the way how they exist and how they interact in those worlds, Bria, Yetzirah, Ve'asiyah, when they're all put together. In other words, let's say, for example, if you're going to go to a place or to a certain level or location, argument's sake, that it's very Asiyah, Nefesh oriented, with very little ratio of, so a person that comes from a place of creativity and the Ruach of Yetzirah is really the major part of his or her existence or component, in their being, they're going to have a hard time being into this place. So again, you could analyze now, giving those tools that we have, the nefesh, the ruach, and the shama, what we spoke about them before, and what each one is in charge of, and what's the importance of each and every one of them. Then when we talk about the three different worlds, Bria, Yetzirah, Ve'asiyah, and now we combine it, we created this algorithm, again, gives us a very important, sophisticated, and efficient tool to evaluate situation, location, and people to be able to better utilize them to complete the task in which we are in hand, and which we said is fixing the world into making the world into a better place. Now, again, if you did the exercise in which I asked you to do previously and try to contemplate on these qualities and understand and so on and so forth, you actually reach something, now you can take it further. Now you can take it further and try to analyze situation, people, objects, based on the algorithm that we just created. How all these things interlock with one another. So we simplify things in one layer, and then we simplify things on another layer, and then another layer, and then we put them together. Now we need to see, many times by observation, when we have this, intellectual property, when we have the knowledge, it will be very beneficial to actually look how to put it together. So you can learn a lot about people by analyzing them based on that algorithm that we say, or even situations of let's say between countries, and that understanding. So you could, I would not tell you predict the future, because that's going to be wrong, but you could create a pattern and identify a pattern of things to happen based on the cascading effect from one thing to another and how things develop. So you could be better prepared. Even I would say, investing financially and understanding different political things and the interaction between people and so on and so forth. So it makes you very, very sharp and gives you a tremendous tool analyze, to understand, and that understanding in a way gives you into a better level of harmony, because you are less waves of anxiety and so on and so forth. So that is what I wanted to talk to you today. Now, next week we're going to maybe talk about the soul and the different levels, so a little bit more in depth. Sferot, hopefully about the Sferot, how they correspond as a vessel for the soul, for the nefesh, ruach uveima, because that's what we do in Sfirat HaOmer when we're counting the Omer, and you can see every single day is different. Every single day, the one is Yesod, the Malchut, then the Tiferet, Behod, and so on and so forth. And each one is very, very important to understand what happens at that level and what happened at that level. So if we have all those gates and the interaction of those attributes, when they one acts within the other, we could understand what's the importance of every single day. So the combinations that we have is 50 different combinations that we go, stages that we go. So it's very important to follow that. So when you say Sfirat HaOmer, for example, today, so today we're 42. Tomorrow, tonight is going to be something else. So see, based on what we're learning, see if you could tell something about today, the potential of the day. Now, if you know, for example, argument's sake, anybody knows what's the day's attribute? You know, where are we holding in terms of the Yesod B'Yesod, Yehoshua? Malchut B'Yesod, which I said it beforehand, right? Malchut B'Yesod it's in the lore. What Malchut B'Yesod means, so you analyze the Sfera of Yesod, and then you analyze the quality of Malchut, of what Malchut is, and then you try to contemplate and understand what does it mean when I talk about Malchut, however, in that realm, in that vessel of Yesod. If you know what it means, therefore you can act according and appropriately to that. You know what to do and you know what not to do. And that is a tremendous trick that I just told you, and I'm sure it is something that if you're interested in, you'll be able to benefit tremendously from. So until that point, again, I would like to dedicate this shiur to the Hatzlacha of Fegel, Sarah, Bat Reuven, Leib, and Rachel, Chaya, Bat Sarah, and to a different Mike, Ben Miriam, and everybody else that needs that. Everybody should have a refuah shlema and a speedy recovery, and above all, is not to lose faith and to play it safe, not to be hasty, but to play it safe. And if you have any questions, you can reach us at rabbigaon@gmail.com. You could go to our website at yeshiva@etzion.com. There is a slot if you want to help us with a donation to continue working, because we haven't stopped learning throughout this whole entire thing. As a matter of fact, since we opened the yeshiva 17 years ago, we never stopped. The only time we stop is for Shabbat and Chagim. But we never stop. We never take a break, not summer, nor anything like that. And you can, again, join us. And if you really liked what we are saying, I would be very happy and complimented and would be very honored if you would please share it. So spread the word out. Don't give up hope and be safe. Have a great day.